Hey, what the hell is happening? How you doing? Look at you and your face. And what's happening in the hut? You're living in a hut. I like the hut. I kind of live in a hut. Well, if you watch these videos, all you see is this Schlitz thing behind me and my stupid face. So it could be a hut. It's not. I like to call it a hut. I don't have no idea what I'm talking about. How's you and your face? Hey, it's Nick Digilio. That's me. I like to make YouTube videos. Which is kind of weird because the movie that I'm going to talk about here involves YouTube videos in a very sort of creepy, significant, depressing, terrifying, and kind of incredible way. I'll get to that in a second. I have to give the plugs because the plugs are hopefully something that you will listen to and help me out. You check me out on YouTube. That's here. It's free, and you can subscribe, get these videos. I make them almost daily. So subscribe, tell your mom, tell your friends. But please check out my Patreon page where you might be watching this video because I put a whole bunch of videos and other content on my Patreon page. Patreon is this great website that helps people and artists and musicians and all kinds of really cool people to put their stuff out there and then hopefully get some response from people in terms of money to help keep their art going, to help keep their entertainment going, or videos, or in my case, stories, videos, reviews, other content, stories about WGN and other stuff that nobody else really hears. It's a great way to keep us going. It also, I have a podcast going. That's a completely separate thing, but it helps me keep that podcast going in my own personal world so that I can do the podcast. So patreon.com/NickDShow. Go there now. Stop this video. Patreon.com/NickDShow. Donate. Pick a tier, $3, $6, $25 a month. Every little bit helps. And if you donate, if you become a patron on my Patreon page at patreon.com/NickDShow, you will receive bonus materials, access to extra videos and extra stories, and behind-the-scenes stories of what really happened at WGN, my firing, and some other stories that is the truth and that some people don't want you to hear, but you can hear it, and I will tell those stories, all the truth, all the real stuff behind the radio scenes. If you become a patron, donate a little dough, monthly basis, helps out a lot, and you get bonuses too. So, patreon.com/NickDShow. Go there now. My podcast, I love doing it, and I get a great response from people. Subscribe to my podcast. That's free. RadioMisfits.com. Check out the Nick D podcast. New episodes drop every Tuesday and Friday. Movie reviews, stories, my buddy Esmeralda Leon. We have great guests, all kinds of really cool stuff, and it's really going well. So that's part of the Radio Misfits network. So check it out now. Okay, as you know, I review movies regularly, and I have been a professional movie critic for over 35 years, and I love going to movies, and, on my podcast, I review the movies every other week with Eric Childress and Steve Procopi, two great Chicago film critics who have been my friend for years and contributors to my old WGN radio show, and they review movies with me, and we talk about movies all the time, and I do a lot of movie review videos. If you're searching on my Patreon page or on my YouTube page, scroll back, you'll see a bunch of videos dedicated to me talking about movies, and I would love to have you check it out and leave your comments and all that stuff. And again, leave all your comments here on Patreon or on YouTube. So I'm going to be reviewing movies as I often do. So I saw a movie Friday night, which would be the night before last, at the Music Box Theater, the greatest theater in the world. I mention it all the time because it's a beautiful theater. It's run by people who are fantastic, and they have great movies. They program really great movies, new movies, old movies, art films, stupid movies, whatever, midnight shows, matinees. It's the best. So they have a film that's playing there right now, and it's playing there, I guess, through next week. And it's a film that on April 22nd, so at the end of the week, this coming week, in about 5 days, it will be available on a lot of the video on-demand outlets and some of the streaming services, I believe, like Apple and I think on Vudu and all that other kind of shit. But it's playing at the Music Box right now, and it is playing in theaters, and it has played festivals, including Sundance, over the past year or so. And it is called We Are All Going to the World's Fair. It is, advertised as a horror movie. It's a low-budget film that has made the circuit, on the on the on the film festival circuit, and it is at its core a horror film, I guess, but not really. It's kind of an examination of what horror films do to you, and kind of an examination of the kind of creepiness that can seep into you while you're watching online videos. It is also a film about coming of age. It is also a film about transitioning. The filmmaker is Jane Schoenbrunn. Jane Schoenbrunn, they are a trans artist, and they were going through transition while making the film. They weren't out to most people. They didn't come out until after the film had been made, and they were transitioning as it was being made. They were taking the, like after the film had been finished and started to play the festival circuit, Schoenbrunn had started the hormone treatments and other treatments that were leading to they transitioning. So it's a personal statement about their experience young, going through the internet and not really knowing. They hadn't come out yet. Schoenbrunn didn't come out to family, didn't come out to friends, going through this difficult time, all while being sort of obsessed with horror movies and obsessed with watching videos and going online and trying to connect to people while they were going through this really transitional, really crazy period, especially, being a teenager, and on top of that, being trans or discovering that they were trans. And so they put this all into, Schoenbrunn put this all into the movie through the eyes of a teenager named Casey. You don't really know how old she is. She seems high school age, maybe a little bit older. And you only basically see her through her webcam. And she, the movie starts out with a very long take of her sitting in front of her, and you see her on her screen, in front of her laptop, and she's about to take what is called the World's Fair Challenge. She says, I want to go to the World's Fair, I want to go to the World's Fair, I want to go to the World's Fair. One of those challenge things, you say it 3 times, and then she pricks her finger with a needle and bleeds, and then what you're supposed to do is wait. And then something is supposed to happen to you. And when you watch, and when you take this challenge, this internet challenge, reportedly, the internet says that people change. They transform. Something weird happens to them. Something scary happens to them. They completely alter. And something scary, horrifying happens to them, to their bodies, to their minds, to their souls, to them, to their surroundings. You never really know, but there are a series of videos that you can watch where these people who have taken this World's Fair Challenge tell you what has happened to them, or show you physically weird things have happened to them. And this girl, Casey, who is seemingly very, very lonely, you never really see her outside of her attic bedroom, which is really weirdly decorated with glow-in-the-dark stickers, and she never really leaves her bedroom. She never interacts with anybody else in the movie, ever, with nobody. She's rarely out of her bedroom, and when she is, it's in this lonely little world by herself where she just kind of walks around by herself. But she's basically gone down this wormhole of watching these crazy videos. And these are called creepypasta videos, if you're not familiar with them. Creepypasta is a term that's been made up where these creepy internet videos suck people in, and then you watch these horror videos that are supposed to do something to you or suck you into a story, and then you watch one after another, after another, after another. We've all gone down the YouTube wormhole. And if you want to, like, examples of it, there was the Momo challenge, which was that weird bird-like woman with the crazy grin and the eyes and the hair. And there was all this legend that, like, kids were watching it, teenagers were watching and taking the Momo challenge, and it was hypnotizing the teenagers into killing people. And then that turned out to be a hoax, an internet hoax. But the Momo thing did exist. It was created by a Japanese animator, and then someone took it and morphed it into this hoax about this Momo challenge where teenagers were getting hypnotized by this crazy looking being. You can see it, just Google Momo challenge, and you'll see this bird-like looking woman with a crazy smile and crazy hair. And there was that. There was the Slender Man, videos where teenagers were getting hypnotized by this creature, this urban legend creature called the Slender Man, who was like, making teenagers kill each other. And there were some actual things that happened in regard to that. They made a fictionalized horror movie called The Slender Man out of it. So these all fall under the umbrella of creepypasta videos, where you watch these crazy internet-made videos with different characters and drawings and anime sometimes. There are all kinds of different characters. If you do a Google for creepypasta, you'll see all kinds of crazy videos. And this is the kind of stuff that this movie is about. So Casey, this lonely teenager who I think lives with just her dad, and has this very lonely existence and is going through changes as a teenage girl, maybe going through other kinds of changes. And the director personally had said that this was about them going through changing into trans and transitioning. And that makes sense. So anyway, she does this challenge and she starts to act weird. Things start to happen to her and she records them all. She talks into her video, all the while completely obsessed with watching these other videos of these other so-called people who took the challenge and what happened to them. One guy has weird shit physically happen to him. Another one gets hypnotized and obsessed. Another one goes nuts. There's another video that she watches where a guy actually jumps into his laptop and is sucked in by a demon. So all these scary, crazy videos that she gets obsessed with and continues to watch by herself late at night at the loneliest period in the world. This movie knows loneliness better than anything. So as she is posting these videos of herself and the changes that she's going through, recording herself while she's sleeping, and some of the stuff that happens while she's sleeping, and some, like TikTok-inspired sort of maybe dance routines that she's doing and how her behavior has changed since she took the World's Fair Challenge. Well, this gets the eye of a guy who goes by the name of JLB. And he reaches out to her and says that he's concerned because he watches her videos and he wants to help her through this, and they can be scared together while they watch these World's Fair videos together. And then you kind of find out, it's revealed that this is like a middle-aged guy who also lives maybe by himself or lives with another person. You do see one other person, but this relationship that he has with this other person doesn't really exist, and you never really see him outside of his room and then his house. And he is as completely different as this teenage girl as possible. He lives in a big, beautiful sort of house. She lives in this small, crazy, dumpy little house with a weird shed that she spends a lot of time in the suburbs, these dank, awful suburbs. And they somehow connect. And at first you think it's going to be this predatory thing where this guy's maybe a pedophile and he's this weirdo, older guy who's clearly stalking a teenage girl, and then it kind of goes beyond that. And then in this examination of not just this girl, Casey, but also this older guy, this middle-aged guy, JLB, and how their lonely, very sad lives are connected by the internet and yet not connected by the internet. And that's at the core what the movie's about. This movie is about loneliness. And I have not seen a movie that captures loneliness and sadness more accurately than this movie, and especially in terms of what the internet can do to you if you're lonely, if you allow it to happen. This movie kicked me on every level. It kicked me in the gut, it kicked me in the head, it kicked me in the heart. I was profoundly affected by this film. I have spent the last couple of years a lot of time on my own, alone, after a really terrible thing had happened to me, losing my job and all that stuff, and falling off the wagon for a little while, and all this crazy shit that was happening, where I spent a lot of time alone, and unfortunately a lot of time getting sucked into the internet, especially late at night. So personally, I could identify with what Casey was going through, this teenage girl was going through, and how weird it is to get sucked into the internet. And I found myself doing it to the point where I just had to turn off the phone, and that's it. I got to turn this shit off, because you can kind of get sucked in. And that's what it's about. And if you are a vulnerable person like these two people in the movie are, then it can really affect you in horrifying ways. Not body horror, not horror in the sort of terrifying way that you think, but in your head, how it can affect you and what loneliness can do. The The girl itself, Casey, you don't really know much about her. You know that her father might be abusive. The only time you ever really hear her father is one night he's like banging on the ceiling of his bedroom, or on the floor of her room, screaming that it's 3 o'clock in the morning and she needs to shut the fuck up because she is watching loud videos at 3 in the morning because she's sucked into that wormhole as a very, very lonely, obviously an outcast teenager. The opening shots of the movie are after the long take where she takes the challenge. The opening shots of the movie, the establishing shots, are these really sad, depressing, they all take place during the day, these opening shots, but it's like empty malls, empty parking lots. It takes place during the holidays, which makes it even more fucking depressing. And during the holidays in this town that's had some snow, but the snow is all now melting and it's dirty, and there are old like shopping carts stuck in the piles of snow in these sort of empty auto zones and fast food places, Kentucky Fried Chicken. And it's just these establishing shots of just this empty, sad, odd, lonely, suburban, wintry, fucking depressing place. And then this girl, this teenage girl who's clearly going through a lot personally at the age she is and who she is, getting sucked into this weird internet world of these creepy videos while sitting in her attic or laying in some weird shed. And then you slowly start to find out about her father yelling at her that you never see. Maybe there are some scenes that take place in a dining room where she's eating all by herself. There's nobody else in the house. And when she hears a car pull up, she runs away from that dining room and goes back up to her bedroom. She'll walk around by herself with her feet like crunching through the snow in very lonely ways, making videos outside all by herself. There's never a scene where she talks to anybody except for this guy that she connects with. And on that end, that guy's even more of a mystery. So it's about growing up. It's about this teenage girl. And it's about her going through these weird things. She does at one point like a TikTok-inspired dance routine, which is one of the best acted scenes in the movie, where she does this really sort of weird dance number about the World's Fair and about being scared, where it turns into like this primal scream of something that she just can't take anymore. There is a scene where she walks into a shed and discovers and pulls out a gun, an automatic weapon. We don't know how that's going to come into play. Teenager, gun, internet, challenge, that kind of stuff, all hovers over this movie. If you've ever seen any of these creepypasta videos, they can be very hypnotic and very weird. And people who start making them, you've seen these videos. So all this stuff is based in reality. And the teenage girl character is fascinating. And as played by Anna Cobb, one of the greatest debut performances I've ever seen in my life. This girl is incredible. She carries 2/3 of the film. The rest of it is carried by a guy named Michael L. Rogers, who plays the middle-aged, lonely, weird guy named JLB. And he also is terrific in it. And it's about these two lonely souls. It's a film about being lonely. It's a film about being sad. And it's a film about what can happen when you get sucked into that internet. And it's also an incredibly powerful statement about how the internet is supposed to connect us all. The internet is supposed to bring us together in a lot of ways. Ideally, you're supposed to connect with people and meet people and share your ideologies and your videos and your thoughts and your feelings, which is what I do on the YouTube thing. And I hope I want to connect with people this way and want to get feedback. And I hope that I entertain people and make people laugh. And I too watch a lot of the videos, and I hope that these videos make people laugh and make them happy. But there are a lot of people who watch a lot of the videos and just can't find a connection. And the truth is that the internet is supposed to be this idealistic place where we all are supposed to connect. The world comes together, and we see each other and talk to each other. But it's the loneliest place on earth. In reality, the internet is the fucking most hollow, saddest, fucking scary, weird, loneliest place in the world. And for the most part, the internet fucking sucks. It sucks. There are great things about it. It has been used to great potential. But for the most part, if you think about it, horrible comments, internet trolls, the shit that people try to get away with anonymously on the internet, it's sad, it's soul-sucking, it's depressing. There are times when you're on the internet looking at the comment sections of posts where you just go, Everybody on earth is a fucking asshole. Everybody sucks. Everybody is bigoted. Everybody is prejudiced. Everybody is an asshole. Everybody is mean. And they all come together on the internet, and the internet sucks. It's filled with assholes and pricks. And you think you're reaching out to people, and you're not. And this movie is a movie about how empty and lonely your life can be as a teenager if you are transitioning, if you're living with maybe an abusive father who's got a gun, if you have absolutely no friends and you're an outcast, which she clearly is, or if you're a lonely middle-aged guy trying to reach out and you're a little bit weird and strange, maybe your connection is weirder, but when you try to do it through the internet and you think all your answers are going to be, I will watch some videos and I will connect with people and I will do this, I will participate in the internet, you know what's going to happen? You're going to be lonely. You're going to be depressed. You might kill somebody and you might go nuts because the internet sucks, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning, and that's when most of this movie takes place. A lonely teenage girl getting sucked into this idiotic world of the internet that is ultimately very, very lonely and very, very dangerous and very, very damaging. Not maybe physically, but to your psyche. It's a dangerous, lonely, damaging place to be. That's what this movie is about. And it captures the loneliness of the internet better than any movie I've ever seen. And it's potent and it's timely. There's not really more of a timely movie that's being made about loneliness, being a teenager, being fucked up, being a sad person, being an outcast, being maybe abused, being maybe a little mentally fucked up, and how that is multiplied by 90 by this swirling, empty vortex of shit called the internet. She posts a bunch of videos, gets obsessed with posting videos, and puts them out there. And some of the most depressing things about it is that all the videos that she watches, the videos where these other kids and these other people are posting their videos on what happens to them when they take this World's Fair challenge. Well, when you're watching the movie, the most depressing part to me, and one of the most revealing parts to me, is when you're watching the video, you're watching it through, a lot of this stuff takes place through the swirling circles when you're waiting for a video to download. You watch a lot of this movie takes place on what looks like a laptop, where you're looking at videos, online videos that have been homemade by people. And then a lot of times when you look at videos, you see how many people are viewing them. And you can see that. I'll look at my YouTube page and I'll look and see how many people have viewed my video and stuff like that. Well, the thing is that clearly this means a lot to these people in this movie, these fictionalized characters who are obsessed with this World's Fair and making their videos. This Casey girl who becomes completely obsessed with it. And makes all these videos. Every time they post a new video or every time they show a new video, you look at the counts, look at how many views, and it never goes above 30. So you watch how much this means and how much it changes and how dangerous and how scary and how sad it is for this character, Casey, played by Anna Cobb, and you see that nobody's watching, that nobody gives a fuck, that her views, the people who are watching never goes above like 30, sometimes it's 2 or 3. And some of the most personal and scary and most damaging videos that she puts up there are watched by maybe 4 people. She's thinking she's reaching out. She's thinking she's connected. Nobody's fucking watching it. Nobody gives a shit. That's what this movie's about. That's what the internet is about. There's an incredible scene that she improvised, this Anna Cobb, the actress, who, by the way, remember that name, Anna Cobb. Anna Cobb. Remember that name now, because when she starts winning Oscars in a bunch of years, and when she is lauded as one of the greatest actresses on the planet, you're going to say you knew her when. So watch this movie. Her name is Anna Cobb. She's the lead actress. She dominates the film. It's an incredible performance, one of the best teenage performances I've ever seen in my life. So we're all going to the World's Fair. This is her first movie. Anna Cobb, we're all going to the World's Fair. Write that down now. Then years from now, pull out that piece of paper and go, I knew her when she made this movie, now that she's won 6 Oscars and is considered one of the best actresses on the planet, because that's going to fucking happen. The TikTok dance scene is unbelievable. One of the best and most terrifying, saddest. I was crying during the scene. There is a scene that she improvised completely, a tarot card reading scene that she completely improvised, which is absolutely brilliant. She is there on camera by herself, all of her scenes by herself, just the camera on her, as she is changing and being mentally manipulated. There's a scene where she videos herself asleep. Something happens while she's asleep. One of the scariest scenes I've seen in a movie all year long. So, it is a remarkable movie made by a remarkable filmmaker. Jane Schoenbrunn made it while they were transitioning, and all of that stuff is in it, embedded into it. But it is a movie about the loneliness. It's a movie about loneliness like I've never seen, and a statement about how fucking sad, lonely, and pathetic the internet can be, and mostly is. And how sad it is that people dive into it and put so much into it, their heart, their soul. 2 views. Hey, you got 2 views on this video that is a scream for help. There are videos that she makes in this movie where she needs help. Something's wrong with her. Going out and discovering a gun. Walking around on New Year's Eve in the middle of nowhere screaming for help and no one's listening to her. And look up at those views when you're watching the video in the movie. Look up. 5, 6 people have watched that video. No one cares. That's what this movie's about. On the internet, nobody gives a fuck. You know what? I don't know. 12, 13, 14 people are probably going to watch this video, maybe more. I don't know. Sometimes I'll look at it. I get hundreds sometimes of views and stuff like that. Sometimes I get less. You know what? Look at the views on this video. You're not reaching that many people. So if you think that all of your desperate needs as a lonely person are going to be satisfied by making videos or diving into the internet, the opposite's going to happen. And that's what this fucking movie's about. I love this movie. Not necessarily a horror movie. It is about people who love horror movies. The characters in it love horror movies. The teenage girl loves them. But that's not really a horror movie, although there are horrific elements. But this is a movie about transitioning, about change, about being lonely at times in your life when it's the saddest time to be lonely, and you're not going to get shit from the internet except bullshit and more loneliness back, and it's even going to be more damaging. An incredible film. It's playing at the Music Box Theater right now. You should go and see it. It's going to be available on the video on demand and all the other options. It's called We're All Going to the World's Fair. And even the title is a sad statement about what we think we're going to do when we go on the internet. We're all going to the World's Fair. No, we're not. We're in our attic bedroom by ourselves, slowly being depressed, slowly going crazy, slowly being sad. And that journey is not going to be helped by going on the internet. It's going to get worse. We're not going to the World's Fair. We're staying in our bedroom. So I love this movie. I love it. Anyway, We're All Going to the World's Fair. A great film.